Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, there lived a kind-hearted girl named Serena. But the villagers didn't call her Serena. They called her Cinderella because she had a special talent for making the most beautiful candles the world had ever seen. Cinderella lived with her stepmother and two stepsisters in a cozy cottage at the edge of the village. Despite her unkind family, Cinderella was always cheerful and had a smile that could light up even the darkest night. Her days were filled with chores, but she found solace in her candle making. One sunny morning, the village received exciting news. The prince was giving a grand party at the royal palace, and every maiden in the kingdom was invited. Cinderella's stepsisters couldn't contain their excitement. They rushed to their room, talking about nothing else but the upcoming ball, leaving Cinderella alone in the kitchen. Cinderella watched her stepsisters with a twinkle in her eye. She had always dreamt of attending such a magical event, but her family never allowed it. As she continued her work, she couldn't help but daydream about the party, imagining herself dancing under the shimmering chandeliers and meeting the prince. Just then, a soft voice echoed through the kitchen. It was her fairy godmother, a gentle old woman who had been watching over Cinderella since she was a baby. With a wave of her wand, the fairy godmother transformed a pumpkin into a magnificent carriage, mice into dashing horses, and Cinderella's tattered dress into a gown fit for a princess. "Remember, my dear," her fairy godmother said, "you must return by midnight when the spell wears off." Cinderella thanked her fairy godmother and climbed into the carriage. As she arrived at the palace, she couldn't believe her eyes. The palace was a breathtaking sight, with twinkling lights, enchanting music, and elegantly dressed guests. Cinderella stepped into the party hall, and all eyes turned to her. The prince himself couldn't take his gaze away from her radiant beauty. He approached her, and they danced the night away, lost in each other's company. But as the clock struck midnight, Cinderella remembered her fairy godmother's warning. She rushed out of the palace, leaving behind a glass sendal, and she disappeared into the night. The next day, the prince was excited to find the mysterious maiden who had enjoyed his heart. He traveled throughout the kingdom, searching for the owner of the glass sendal. When he arrived at Cinderella's village, her stepsisters tried to squeeze their feet into the delicate sendal, but it was too small for them. Finally, it was Cinderella's turn. She slipped her foot into the glass sendal, and it fit perfectly. The prince knew he had found his true love. Cinderella and the prince were married in a grand ceremony, and they lived happily ever after. Cinderella's family realized the error of their ways and regretted their unkindness. They, too, found happiness as they learned to be kind and loving. And so, Cinderella's magical night at the palace not only brought her love and happiness, but also taught her family the importance of kindness and love. It was a tale that the villagers of that small village would tell for generations, reminding them that goodness and love would always prevail in the end.